and welcome to Trade Finance Talks. I'm Mahika Ravishankar, Deputy Editor at Trade Finance Global. We're coming to you today from Money 2020 Europe in Amsterdam. I'm joined by Bill Dang, founder and CEO of X-Transfer. Bill, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
So could you start by introducing yourself a little bit? Tell me a bit about your background and what brings you to Money 2020 Europe this year.
Okay, my name is Bill. I'm the CEO and co-founder of X-Transfer. We've started it from 2017. Before that, I worked in Alipay and also Visa for 3 years, Alipay for 7 years. And then we started X-Transfer. So actually, we are a B2B payment platform, one of the largest in China already. Our customers are importers and exporters from around the world. Previously, it's primarily China-based, but then we started to expand our services to clients outside of China. So right now, we are building our global platform, serving not only clients from China, but also outside of China. So they call us, B2B version of PayPal, B2B version of Alipay. But this is B2B version, which means we only serve business-to-business payment, cross-border payment.
And I know a lot of your clients are SMEs. Are there any specific pain points which SMEs have expressed in terms of cross-border payments? And how can X-Transfer address those specific pain points?
We started in 2017. On that year, we found that actually, B2B payment, actually the market size is huge, the trade payment. So a lot of SME, actually, they are contributing to more than 2/3 of the trades globally already. But their pain point back in that day was that suddenly, many of them, they found out their bank account hosted in the traditional banks got freezed, which means it's a panic or it's a disaster for the operation of businesses, right? So the reason is that because of regulations relating to AML, anti-money laundering. For example, a lot of fraud cases may happen especially for SMEs. So banks found traditional banks found it not profitable to serve these clients. On the other hand, the risk exposure of SMEs could be high, so they decided not to serve SMEs anymore. So then we become a platform to connect with SMEs and banks again. So by doing so, we're able to allow our customers to utilize the global bank service again, so that they will be able to collect the money from every single country they are selling goods to.
Thank you very much. And we're filming this in Amsterdam, where I know X-Transfer has just announced that it's obtained its license. Can you tell me a little bit more about the significance of this announcement?
Yep. So we got license in Amsterdam, and with this we'll be able to passport to other European countries. So also we will treat EU as a single market. Previously, Chinese sellers sell a lot of things to European countries, the importers here, right? So with this license, we will be able to onboard not only the exporters but also importers in EU countries. So when you can imagine, when both the buyer and seller use X-Transfer, the trade settlement will happen just instantly with the balances on X-Transfer platform. So it does means a lot to our global expansion. Yeah.
Thanks. And I want to talk a bit about the international payments ecosystem at the moment. What have the big changes to the system been?
Okay, so we were actually the first one to start this B2B trade payment platform, originating from China. But then, in the early days when we talked to the bank partners, it has been very challenging because for the compliance people to understand our business model, to support us, it's very difficult because we have no track record to show that, to demonstrate that our capability is sufficient. But you know what? We come over here for the Money 2020. During the last 2 to 3 years, we see not only we see more and more fintech companies are running into this B2B trade payment places. I think which is good because the market size is huge. We can change the industry together. But so we see actually we were the first platform to do it. But then right now many others are joining us. So the force by doing this revolution, mobile payment revolution to the industry, B2B payment industry, I think it's quite valuable.
And how do all of these different parties that you've mentioned work to deliver a degree of stability during times of turbulence?
Turbulence, okay. So Yeah, we see all this negative news from media, the tariff wars, geopolitical tensions. But actually what we see is that the trade, global trade, has always been growing during the last 10 years. Even, there are issues like COVID, issues like geopolitical tensions, they are interconnected somehow, right? But anyway, the trade is still happening. Because as I understand, global trade is just unstoppable. Global supply chain. You don't have a second global supply chain. You just have one single global supply chain. Every one country are involved into it. So actually, no one country could cut itself from this global supply chain actually. So we're just more optimistic because we are seeing the driving forces of global trade.
I guess kind of on the note of one country cutting itself from a supply chain, I want to talk a little bit about the US and the tariffs, which are making many companies have to reroute their supply chains away from the US. How are SMEs conducting payments in this environment of rerouting?
You know what? As we can observe, actually SMEs, they are more flexible. So whenever there are big things happening, for example, the negative things about COVID and even tariff wars, always big companies are more they tend to be more kind of in a panic. But for SMEs, they are very flexible. They could adapt it to all the changes, all the potential changes. So because they make decisions quickly, they change the shape of the trade quickly. So SME actually, even during we observed the data, the trend of the number of transactions of SMEs, even during the trade war, actually they are still being kept stay stable. Yeah, that's really to show the resilience of SMEs global trade.
Yeah, that resilience I feel like isn't talked about as much as it should. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
What are some challenges which European companies face when trying to operate with Chinese suppliers?
The China, but I think to China, the trading corridor between European countries and China, I think it has been doing good. So despite some there are political issues, but then the businessmen are always focused on business. So many Chinese importers are still buying a lot from the European countries or the other way, selling a lot of things to European markets. For example, in Dutch market as well, I think it's you don't see big issues yet, especially. Yeah, so this also we are so determined to come over here to set up our the hub in Netherlands for the European market here. We'll have more people here, to the sales people, the customer service people, to expand the whole team here. Yeah.
And it's a pretty optimistic picture you've painted, so I want to end by looking forward a little bit. What more can be done to bolster international payments networks?
I think, so the most powerful driving force is digitalization. So we are one of the companies that help to further develop the digitalized solutions to our customers, right? So I think going forward, we just work with our bank partners here and also work with our regulators here to further deepen the digitalization of the services relating to trade. I think this is quite valuable and quite important to this industry.
Yeah, digitalization has definitely been a key theme of this conference.
Yeah. When we come over here, actually we compare the lifestyle here. It changes dramatically. We can pay just with contactless payment, right? And there are a lot of unattended supermarkets here. So everything is going digital. Yeah. Very, very quickly.
Yes, it is. The speed especially is definitely something to watch.
So that we are actually very optimistic about the global trade because the digitalization is deepening in every single market you can see from around the world. So it helps to facilitate the communication of different people. So that's also why SMEs become even a single person with a single laptop that can do $1 million worth of goods trade each year. So companies become smaller and smaller by utilizing all those digital infrastructure we have been building with other partners.
Great, thank you so much, Bill.
Thank you.
This has been Bill Deng from Money 2020 Europe. Bill, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.